We do have this breaking news. Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, he's the head of the Church of England and spiritual leader of 85 million Anglicans across the globe, has just resigned after an investigation found that he failed to tell police about serial physical and sexual abuse by a volunteer at Christian summer camps as soon as he became aware of it. Again, this is breaking news here on Live Now from Fox. If you are just joining us here, here's what we do know. Pressure on Welby had been building since last Thursday when release of the inquiry's findings kindled anger about a lack of accountability at the highest reaches of the church.
Tonight, the very alarming scene playing out in Amsterdam, protesters setting off explosives inside a tram. Authorities believe some targeting Jews, some attackers yelling anti-Semitic slurs. Here's our foreign correspondent, James Longman, tonight.
Tonight, Amsterdam again on edge after a night of violence targeting Jews. Rioters setting off explosives inside a tram, igniting a fire, filling the cars with smoke. Some of the attackers yelling anti-Semitic slurs, throwing bricks, leaving windows shattered. At least 3 people were arrested. The city on high alert just days after Dutch authorities say anti-Semitic mobs ambushed Israeli soccer fans in the streets. Videos circulating online show this man pushed to the ground and beaten. Dutch officials say the attacks fueled by calls on social media to target Jews. But some Israeli soccer fans heard chanting anti-Arab slurs, others ripping down this Palestinian flag, shouting, "No children left in Gaza." Anger on both sides, fueled in part by the war in Gaza and the massive humanitarian toll. And David, there is another soccer match this Thursday.
People in Gaza are hungry. The little food that's on the market is hardly enough to make a meal out of. In central Gaza, where most Palestinians have been displaced, the shelves are bare. Mayonnaise and tomato sauce from Israel, brought in weeks ago, sit next to some cappuccino packets and local produce. But missing are staples like eggs and milk, bread, pasta, rice, chicken, and beef. The flour here has bugs in it. And most people can't afford stores like this. They rely on food aid and handouts because for more than a year now, people haven't had work and they've lost their homes and businesses in the war. At this UN warehouse, hundreds gather from early morning for a bag of flour. They hold on to the gates, but they never open. Everyone goes home empty-handed on this day, still hungry. Kids caked in expired flour thrown out by the World Food Program in central Gaza show just how dire the situation is for people here, with concerns of famine now in northern Gaza. The Biden administration gave Israel a 30-day deadline to meet a list of requirements, like allowing a minimum of 350 trucks into Gaza per day, expanding humanitarian pauses, loosening.
This Wednesday, Congress is holding another major hearing on UFOs, so here's what you need to know. On November 13th at 11:30 a.m., Congress will hear testimony from top witnesses about the government's secret handling of UAP, also known as UFOs. Here are 2 of the witnesses. This guy right here is Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, who has spoken very publicly that these UFOs are of non-human intelligence. And you probably know this guy by now, but this is Lou Elizondo, who ran a Pentagon program called ATIP, which investigated UFOs. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a must-watch event. They're going to be talking about recovered technology, military sightings, and my personal favorite, USOs. Finally, we are going to get some national coverage on unidentified submerged objects. I have been talking about this since the lunch table in middle school. Apparently, they're also going to talk about the Immaculate Constellation, a classified program that has been hiding the best UFO evidence. I really want to get excited, but I'm not going to get my hopes up here, okay? As long as this leads to more hearings, more credible witnesses that actually bring evidence, I'm cool. So this way.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here at a very busy Tuesday night. The major factory explosion, workers rushed to the hospital. Also, President-elect Trump and his new picks, his choice tonight to head the CIA. But we begin tonight with the wildfire threat across the Northeast and now multiple fires in and around New York City. In fact, the National Weather Service, again moments ago, issuing red flag warnings from New York all the way to Boston. Tonight, 30 million Americans are under fire alerts. Army National Guard Black Hawk helicopters dropping water on the Jennings Creek fire just miles from the city. Winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour, fanning the flames. And tonight, fires erupting in the Bronx, one in a high voltage line that powers trains. Amtrak tonight suspending trains in both directions. The images of firefighters gearing up to tackle the fire along the New York-New Jersey border. And the new warnings tonight from the governors of New York to Massachusetts, the whole region bone dry. ABC's Trevor Ault leading us off near the fire lines in Greenwood Lake, New York.
Tonight, firefighters battling multiple fires in New York City. In the Bronx, an Amtrak high-voltage feeder line catching fire. Officials shutting down power and suspending service in both directions. While just outside the city, high winds fueling the Jennings Creek wildfire along the New York-New Jersey border. More than 5,000 acres charred, and residents like Barbara Lambert ready to run if the wind shifts. So you're ready to leave right now?
Yeah, I got my stuff packed. You don't know. You never know.
Hundreds of volunteer firefighters coming to assist from all over the region, while National Guard Blackhawks make water drops. Today, New York's governor surveying the damage.
Last night, we had a very difficult touch-and-go situation, but I thank God for the teams we had on the ground that created the fire line necessary to protect these individuals' homes.
Breaking right now, at least 11 people hospitalized after an apparent explosion at a business in Louisville, Kentucky today. People who live nearby are being told to shelter in place. Neighbors say the business that exploded manufactures ingredients for soft drinks. Cause of the blast is under investigation.
Tonight, a commercial plant in Louisville, Kentucky, torn apart after a massive explosion.
Appears to be a large explosion that occurred. We got smoke showing.
The blast, seen from this sky camera blocks away, happening just after 3 p.m.
I live about a mile away from here, and I was just inside of my house and heard a huge boom, and the whole house shook. The power went off for a couple of seconds.
At least 11 people were rushed to the hospital, 2 in critical condition.
We had one person that was pinned. We were able to get them out and rescue them, as well as assist the others in evacuation.
The explosion blowing out windows. Residents within a mile of the building temporarily ordered to shelter in place, as Louisville Emergency Services initially called it a hazardous materials incident.
Mohammed is the only member of his family to survive an Israeli airstrike in northern Gaza. The young man carrying Mohammed is his neighbor, describing a night of heavy airstrikes. Gaza's civil defense says at least 15 people were killed by Israeli strikes in Beit Hanun. Hundreds of people are now fleeing this city in northern Gaza after Israeli troops pushed in. Bags are loaded onto bicycles and wheelchairs, or simply carried on the backs of those both young and old. This latest mass displacement.
شبشب انقطع في الطريق جاي من بيت حنون كيف الطريق؟
والله صعبة حسبنا الله علينا طلعنا من هناك
الحمد لله على السلامة يا عم
Breaking news coming out today, November the 12th, 2024. Let's take a look at the latest headlines with me. The U.S. won't withhold aid to Israel, walking back their threats over conditions in Gaza. As we're hearing, the U.S. is now in alignment and approving. Take a look at this. Netanyahu says that he and Donald Trump, they now see eye to eye on Iran. After holding 3 calls within the past couple of days, we're hearing the United States is in lockstep with Israel moving forward. Here's another one we're also hearing yesterday, updated today. Defense Minister Katz says the time is right to hit Iran. They are saying now is the time to do it. New defense minister says Iran's nuclear facilities are more exposed than ever before after Israel's strike on October 26th. And Netanyahu hints that he would hit Iran's oil fields if Tehran attacks. We're hearing that if there is a retaliation, Israel could be hitting those oil facilities. And also Netanyahu to Iranians, another attack on Israel would cripple Iran's economy, as we're also hearing that nuclear facilities are not off the table either. So things are escalating. We're hearing the United States